Karens, they've been getting a little bit out of control. They want to now get gamers arrested. So let's see how this is all playing out for them.
You play games, but what if a group of people decided that your hobby was a crime? What if they wanted to use police, even international police, to come after you just for disagreeing with them? That's not a joke. It's happening
The definition
right
of
now,
I'm going to speak with the manager.
and it's all thanks to a group called Collective Shout, who are trying to get anyone who stands against them arrested. Meet Collective Shout, an Australian group that decided they didn't like some of the games on platforms like Steam and itch.io. So what did they do after Gaben wouldn't listen to their complaints? They went after the money. They sent a letter to major payment companies like PayPal and MasterCard demanding they stop working with these game stores. Their argument was that some of the games had extreme content, framing it as illegal and that it should be removed. The thing is, it worked. The payment companies
Like, how bored do you have to be just to screw over someone else? Like, this doesn't even affect them whatsoever. They're just so bored and I guess lonely that they need to make someone else feel just as bored and lonely as mad as they are. That's what this feels like. They're going down with the ship and they're bringing you with them.
gave in. They told the game stores to clean up their act or they would lose service. The game platforms removed thousands of titles to make sure that they fell in line with these financial companies' rules. This response not only hurt the players of these games, it also caused financial damage to real people, including the thousands of developers who spent countless hours on the art and game development. It wasn't
I don't think they really care about that. They just care about winning, and they'll win at any cost, dude. As long as someone's suffering, in their eyes, they've won.
only that though. One of PayPal's largest acquiring banks terminated its service with Steam in every currency other than 6. So now it's no longer just about adult games. Nearly every single person on the platform is now directly affected. Also, when a bank terminates its service with a merchant, they report it to the match list. We covered it in our previous video, but it's a secret confidential list that top banks and financial companies like MasterCard and Visa use to monitor risky merchants. Imagine it as a big red flag or a warning telling other banks not to work with Valve. Although
It's like they're a cartel, dude. The bank of cartels. Isn't this technically illegal? Because Steam didn't do anything wrong. But now they're allowed to blacklist a company because they don't fall in line with what they're doing. They shouldn't be allowed to decide what is legal versus what is not legal. We are truly entering a dangerous time zone. The world's about to get real spicy real soon.
The match list database is kept extremely private. The fact a bank has terminated service with Valve means they are highly likely to be on this blacklist. After their
The bank cartel, dude, it's real.
When Collective Shout couldn't stop talking about the situation, you'd think a group that got what it wanted would move on to bigger things.
It's the 5 Infinity Stones of Care. How to collect all the most powerful Karens. Here they are, dude. Thanos would be happy.
But of course, this group doesn't actually care about protecting anyone other than removing content they don't like. To defend their actions, Collective Shout has been
I think it's more of a power trip than removing content they don't like. It's a sense of superiority they're chasing, more or less. What it would be like to be in the mind of a Karen. I think it's just I want to speak to your manager repeated like 1,000 times.
Trying to paint these games as highly illegal to larger organizations that have little understanding of gaming, like a United Nations Special Rapporteur. A UN rapporteur are independent human rights experts who simply investigate and advise on issues.
It's the Karen of Karen. The ultimate form, dude. They've evolved. There's like a Pokemon. The Karen slowly evolves until they get to this point. This is their ultimate form.
The fact that Collective Shout is trying to get one on their side shows they're actively working to legitimize their claims to a wider non-gaming audience. And now, they found a partner in a report from a group called the Online Hate Prevention Institute. This report, which sides with Collective Shout, is just saying why they think this censorship is so good and framing the pushback from gamers as a hateful, misogynistic campaign. But the
Karens together strong, Karens together powerful. We will stop.
The most interesting part is when you reach the bottom conclusion. The Online Hate Prevention Institute has been shocked by both the extreme nature and volume of the content we have seen attacking Collective Shout, the women who work there, and those that serve on its board of directors.
Well, I feel like the reason why they're getting attacked so hard is because have no place in deciding what another person does with their free time. Like the only people that should have that say is the person themselves, and like the law went above the law and restricted other people from doing what they wanted. And on top of that, they did it in a very disrespectful way. So now they're gonna get roasted into human steaks, boys. They're getting cooked and they're getting cooked hard. And I feel like people also have gotten tired of this victim mentality. It's like they hit you first and then you hit them back. And it's like, why did you hit me? I didn't do anything wrong. And it's just like, bruh.
Connect comes from accounts across multiple platforms. In some cases, new throwaway accounts have been created in an effort to anonymously post threats while trying to avoid any consequences. These are serious cases of cyber harassment, and there needs to be government responses, including international cooperation between law enforcement agencies. Threats of death and rape are not free speech, not even in the United States, where some of the trolls clearly come from. We're not
I don't think anyone's gonna get arrested, dude. Maybe a few people at most, but like, are you gonna send someone into the middle of the frozen tundra of Russia and arrest them? Like, I don't think that's gonna happen, dude. This is not just happening in the U.S., right? It's happening in all the countries around the world who are angry at them.
talking about your local police. We're talking about agencies that deal
People on the internet are just demons, dude. They do not care. You make them mad, dude. They're coming for your booty.
with serious international crimes. They're asking for help from organizations like Interpol. It's crucial to understand that Interpol isn't a police force that would directly arrest you. Instead, it's a network that communicates between different countries' police. It would allow an Australian police force, like the Australian Federal Police, to coordinate with agencies in other countries, like the FBI in the US, to track down and investigate people. So Collective Shout's allies want to use laws that were designed to fight cybercrime, like harassment, threats, and defamation, to go after gamers who simply just don't want their games censored and controlled by people who have never played a video game in their life. And while no one should accept threats of violence, a number of people have found that Collective Shout has been faking threats against themselves to gain sympathy and get donations.
It's instead of the boy who cried wolf, it's the girl who cried wolf. So now they're lying to get more attention. Oh my god. How far does this rabbit hole go? They're a different breed, man. I've always wondered, do you think these people act like this in real life? Let me know down in the comments below. Why are you down there? Like and subscribe, boys.
They genuinely think that if they just say the games are illegal and anyone who speaks up against them is misogynistic or a rapist, that it will just make everyone agree and listen to them. Remember, like Valve has said, the games they were targeting were legal and fit inside their original policies. So it genuinely seems like Collective Shout may actually start to work with police to pursue criminal charges against gamers. Collective Shout is straight up coming into a space that's not theirs, trying to control it, and they don't want anyone to speak up against it. They got cooked so hard they had to private their X account, which is why they had to start begging for donations, as they were starting to look bad for their supporters. So
they have no problem making someone else feel terrible, but the second it happens to them, you know, they can't handle the heat, man. I don't think harassing is good. You never should send death threats or anything like unhinged that these people are doing, but sewer brawl, dude, anything goes on the internet.
All sink in. A group is trying to get international police involved. They want law enforcement to target people who oppose them. Although Collective Shout tries to act like the victims, this campaign has already directly affected thousands of developers, many of them small, independent creators who lost their income overnight. Is on their side, but that still doesn't change.
I don't think Valve's on their side. They just don't want to lose more money. At the end of the day, right, Valve's a company and they want to make as much money as humanly possible. That's gotta suck though for the developers that lost all their jobs, dude, and they're getting like absolutely screwed over than anyone else here. And the Karens, they don't care because they got what they want and they made other people feel terrible, and that to them is a win.
Change the fact that their previous work was removed. So Collective Shout is directly responsible for inflicting financial damage on thousands of people. Because Collective Shout is an Australian group, these developers could group together and file a class action lawsuit against them for economical damages. Their most likely path to a win would be in an Australian court, as
That beautiful kangaroo, though.
US courts would have difficulty claiming jurisdiction over an Australian organizations for actions that launched overseas. This is just a thought for all the game developers who are affected, as these power-hungry people won't stop until they face consequences.
I feel like this is never going to stop until people legitimately face consequences, whether that be the banks blacklisting Steam because they're a quote-unquote risk, which is just, BS, or these groups are going to keep doing what they're doing until eventually something gets too far and they get punished. Either they go to jail, they get fined, until there's like some real consequences to their actions. This, I think, is never going to stop. Plus, these people are just bored, dude. Like, how do you not have better things to do with your time than ruin someone else's experience while playing a game? How bored do you have to be, dude? Go farm a coconut or something. Go eat a banana.
It also won't just stop here. According to MasterCard's rules, any game with non-consensual mutilation could be hit, and since Steam is now forced to follow their rules, this means nearly every top game could get removed. By not fighting back, we are allowing a small group to dictate what is acceptable for an entire global community. Trump has signed an executive order that is meant to stop banks from debanking or denying financial services for political or reputational risk reasons.
Well, the problem with that is that's not a world, that's like US. That just fixes it in like the US, right? And it's kind of like a band-aid fix where there needs to be a more concrete fix to this problem. And one of those ways is, I think, Valve developing their own paying system. Valve Pay, baby. Sign me up.
If it is a lawful activity, they can't deny it, which is what's happening exactly here. While this executive order is a big step, it's not a full law just yet, and won't help everyone around the world. Now, regardless of how long it takes, I wouldn't be surprised if Valve comes out with a solution so they no longer have to be dependent on these large financial companies. Make sure you support the developers, speak out against this kind of censorship.
Well, it's a good video, covers the topics. I just wish people could be happy. Karens stop being Karens. And I think eventually some real consequences will happen and these problems will start being fixed. I hope it does not have to get to that point, but it might have to. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Peace.